Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Ginny. Today I'm going to share with you how I made this little treat, a needle and thread mini Gable box using the needle and thread bundle. This bundle comes with a coordinating suite of products, so it makes projects like this quick and easy. So let me set this aside and we'll get started. The first thing I'm going to do is bring in one of our white mini Gable boxes. You can get these in packs of 12, so it's a great bargain. I'm going to take my Balmy Blue and my Night of Navy ink pads and the two little butterfly images. This first one is a solid image and has 3 butterflies, so it makes this quick and easy. And I'm going to scatter these throughout my mini Gable box, re-inking as you go along. And you can do the handles also if you'd like to bring those butterflies up to the top. And then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do the same thing on the back side. Now, as you notice, I'm twisting my stamps so that I am getting the butterflies going in different directions. You'll want to make sure that you're getting full ink onto the stamp and that you're moving around your ink pad so that you don't get dead spots on your images. So now that I've got that done, I'm ready to move on to this butterfly that has a stitched edge to it, and I'm going to stamp that in between. Now on this image you'll want to be careful so that you're not rocking and you don't get these dark spots on your butterflies. And I'm simply spreading that randomly around the box again. You can overlap these if you'd like, or do them where there's more space in between. That's your preference as to what you like. And I'm going to add one right there. Okay, so now I'm ready to start decorating, and I'm going to bring in our designer series paper. I've taken 2 pieces of our Needlepoint Nook designer series paper. This first pattern I cut to 3/4 of an inch by 12, and the second cross stitch pattern I cut at 1/2 an inch by 12. And I'm going to flip this over, and I am going to add a piece of tear and tape to the back. I'm going to run the full length of the designer series paper, and then I'm going to flip this other one over and I'm going to add a piece of tear and tape down it also. For tear and tape, it does help if you burnish it so that the tape is adhered and it's easier to pull off the edge. So I am going to take the protective coating off of this first piece, and I am going to bring my box back in. Excuse me. And I am going to start this about midway. I'm leaving about 1/2 an inch showing on the bottom. I am lining it up with the outside edge of the box because that's going to be the back of my box, and I am going to run it around, pulling tight on the edge there. And of course you can use your grid paper if you want to make sure this is perfectly lined up, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Back to the front again. I've got my band on there, and I'm going to remove this second piece, and I'm going to line this up with the bottom edge of my designer series paper, and I'm using this grid mark as my point to make sure that it's level, and I'm going to adhere that down. I'm going to flip it over and once again line up with my grid paper and then adhere. And all that does is make sure I have a nice straight line. There we go. And at this point I'm going to burnish so that I know that's adhered well. I'm going to flip my box over and we're going to do this focal point here. So I'm going to bring in a piece of Balmy Blue and my Night of Navy again, and this wonderful little sentiment here that I'm going to stamp. And then I'm going to use the die cut to start the process of cutting this out. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, I've run this through the Big Shot with my die, and I love the fact that this die coordinates with our pretty label punch. This die happens to give a stitch edge, but it really doesn't cut out the shape. So I'm going to slide that into my punch, line it up so that beautiful stitched edge shows, and punch. And I'm ready to add it to my project. So I'm going to flip it over, place a couple dimensionals on the back of it, remove the paper, bring my box back over, and adhere. There we go. Okay, so to build the box, you're going to fold on the score lines, and you're going to open those back up, so you want to score everything. And you can do this beforehand if you like, but I like to do it after the stamping. So at this point, I pretend this is a little mouth. I'm going to put this first part down, and then the two sides, and then I'm going to tuck that tongue right into the mouth, and that creates your beautiful bottom. And for the top, you're going to fold on these edges. You're going to fold in and then out on the top score line. Once again, in and then out. You're going to pinch those two together, remove this little piece, and slide that in. We'll remove that little piece. And of course, you'll want to fill this box with some goodies so that they're easy to give. There we go. Here's the original again. If you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.